I've got a vehicle running from us.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to work in law enforcement? From deputies on patrol, what it's like to work in corrections, dig into some cold case investigations, and reveal the multitude of untold stories of how our officers give back to the community. All stories from your neighbors, the hard-working men and women who serve the citizens of York County.
I can back 144 on 5.
This is YCSO Behind the Badge, the official podcast of the York County Sheriff's Office. Welcome to Behind the Badge, the official podcast of the York County Sheriff's Office. Again, I'm Trent Ferris, Public Information Officer for the York County Sheriff's Office, and also your host for the next 30 minutes or so. And just like every week, we always ask you to go check us out on our social media pages. That's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. If you're looking for a job, we put a lot of stuff up there for job searches on LinkedIn, and YouTube, where you can also listen to us on a video if you don't have a favorite podcasting service. And lastly, sign up for those Notify Me alerts straight to your phone and email at yorkcountysheriff.com. When a major event arrives or happens in the county, that's when that we feel needs your attention, we can send those notifications to your area. For instance, folks in Clover won't get alerts for things going on in McConnell's. And we've used it for searching for missing people, suspects on the run, and even major weather events. So it comes in handy. So sign up for those today, so we can get the right information to the right people at the exact right time, the people that we serve, you, the citizens of York County. So there, I got the business out of the way. Whew. And take a deep breath. And if you don't know by now, October is Crime Prevention Awareness Month. And a little history for you here. In 1984, October was designated as Crime Prevention Awareness Month through a presidential proclamation. Ronald Reagan did it, and since then, the National Crime Prevention Council, the same folks that do McGruff the Crime Dog, Take a Bite Out of Crime for you kids. Ask your folks about that. Good commercials back in the good old days of golden age of cartoon television. They've been working with local law enforcement government agencies, civics groups, schools, businesses, and other organizations to help them spread the word about crime prevention and personal safety. And you would think in the business of law enforcement, we'd be in the crime prevention process every day, month, hour, but that's not the case. I mean, we are, but we have a person for that who does that every day. And she is our crime prevention officer, Corporal Kim Morehouse. Welcome to the podcast.
Well, thank you for having me, Trent.
So we have our crime prevention officer here first, but like we start every podcast of sorts, when we're talking to the people who work at the York County Sheriff's Office, we talk about the person, not the corporal, but the person. Kim Morehouse, the person behind the badge. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I come from Indiana. I was born and raised.
I wouldn't tell.
In the
I couldn't tell.
Indiana, you're right. I don't have the nice southern drawl accent.
It's gotten better over the years.
It is. It's getting better at each word, right? Went to school at Franklin College. Give them a shout out. They just sent me a mask the other day for being an alumni. So there's their shout out. I was pretty happy to get that in the mail. But went there and studied sociology and psychology. After that, I pretty much went into law enforcement. I mean,
straight out.
Almost, yeah. I was lucky enough to take a little segue to Australia and visit that fine country. And interesting, I went actually to do a internship with the Queensland Police Department there.
Ooh.
So almost everything I've done since college has really been law enforcement oriented.
And so it was law enforcement right out of college, and that was what you wanted to do growing up as a little kid?
Not as a little kid. Funny you said that. I was just talking to my son this morning because he said he wanted to be a Major League Baseball player when he grows up.
What kid doesn't?
Yeah, and the Braves are playing,
okay.
So he's all excited about that. But I told him, well, I wanted to be a basketball player when I was growing up, when I was young. Mm-hmm. And I said, but they didn't have, at that time, showing my age, a Major League women's basketball. Not Major League, but National Basketball League for women. So when I got into high school, we had some people come visit during prom time and ask some questions. And based on that conversation that I had with a couple of Indiana State troopers, pretty much decided that that's the route I wanted to take.
Boom, done.
Yeah, high school.
In high school and then college and then right out. And you spent some time up in Indiana?
I did.
And with a certain law enforcement group there?
That's right. I was with the Indiana State Police for a little over 13 years.
And for folks who don't know, the Indiana State Police are similar to the Highway Patrol in South Carolina, but they don't do what the Highway Patrol does here. They actually are state police. They investigate crime everywhere, correct?
That's right. It's a combination where down here you have the Highway Patrol and you have SLED. It's a combination of the two. There's no separation.
Right.
So you could be working the road, doing traffic, and then be called to assist with domestics or anything like that. So it really is a rounded police officer in
Full
Indiana.
service.
Yes.
Full service state police organization.
Correct.
All right. And then you left there to go to do something else that everybody would sit there and go, whoa, cool. Talk about that.
Yeah. So actually, you asked me if I always wanted to be in law enforcement, and I did. I also had a dream of being with the United States Secret Service.
Protecting the president.
Right.
No. Right. Go ahead. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So I applied with them at the same time I applied with the Indiana State Police originally.
Mm-hmm.
So years and years ago. And at the time, I had no police experience.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, thanks for trying. Check back with us. Fast forward several years, and one of my colleagues had left to go to the Secret Service, and he'd come back to visit the post where I worked at, and he said, you need to apply. Mm-hmm. Your time's running short. So you have to be able to put 20 years of service in before you turn age 57. Mm-hmm. And when I was talking to him, I was after 35, and so my time was running short to be able to apply and be accepted before I turned to age 37.
All right.
I applied, and I was hired, I believe it was like 5 days before my 37th birthday.
Boom. Got in.
I did.
And you started straight there, protecting the president right away, because that's what everybody thinks you do.
That's the biggest question I get when I tell people that I worked for the Secret Service. Did you guard the president? So the United States Secret Service, most of their agents are investigating white-collar crimes. Right. So they're charged with protecting the financial institutions of the United States. Mm-hmm. Believe it or not, most people don't know that. So you go back after training, which is 9 months long, to be a special agent, and you're doing work in the field. All right. For several years, 6 to 8, depending on their need for those in the protective detail, but you'll spend 6 to 8 years in that mode before you ever get a chance to go to a protective detail.
All right, but not to get into too many details, you found your way here to York County somehow.
I did. At the time, basically I needed to get to family. Mm-hmm. And so I decided to leave the Secret Service. It was a very difficult decision, but after a year with the Secret Service, I chose family. And lo and behold, the York County Sheriff's Office hired me. And honestly, it's been the most family-oriented agency that I've worked with since I've been in law enforcement.
Even the Indiana State Police?
And I do love the Indiana State
That's
Police.
true.
And they know that, and everybody here knows that. But in terms of actually open arms and supporting me through a lot of things that have happened to me in the past 10 years almost, I would say, yes, this is the most family-oriented agency I've ever worked for in law enforcement.
Boom. And then you get here and you work the road just like everybody else, it gets here, and you had to start sort of kind of at the bottom again after all that experience and stuff. And then you ended up, the crime prevention officer, correct?
That is correct. I originally hired as the assistant public information officer.
Oh, what about that? That's how I know her a little bit, folks. Come on.
Yeah.
That's why we're talking about this stuff.
We worked together for several years, and then most recently they have moved me under the Office of Professional Standards. But yes, I am the crime prevention officer for the York County Sheriff's Office. All
right, and tell us about that. I mean, it's, crime prevention. I mean, you go out there and tell everybody to do, hey, lock your car doors and stuff. It's not all just that, right? It's a little more of that. Neighborhood Watch program for one, right?
Right.
Talk about that.
We have several programs. Probably our largest is our Neighborhood Watch program. I was just looking at all the folders over the years. I've been in this position almost 7 years now, actually almost 8 years. And in that 8 years, we have reached out to approximately 80 groups that have been interested in the Neighborhood Watch program, which sounds great, and it is. However, you have to think about the hundreds and hundreds of neighborhoods
You're right.
in the county. So we still, and we always will have more work to do. The Neighborhood Watch program is a partnership for us. Our agency treats it, anyone interested, we're going to come talk to them. We don't have to have a certain number of participation. I have done meetings with as little as one person, and I've done meetings as big as almost 100 people that have been interested. We tell people that it doesn't have to be a big subdivision to be interested in a Neighborhood Watch group. One of our strongest ones is on the western side of the county, and it's on the longest gravel road in the county, Bonner Horton Road.
Yep.
They're very close, and they have helped throughout the years give us information that helps to prevent crime or give us information lead-wise for us to solve crimes.
Right, and if folks don't know, I mean, the Neighborhood Watch program, they may have seen the old signs, with the eyeball-looking sign, the blue and white eyeball-looking sign that says Crime Watch Zone. But if you go around in the county and you see our signs, it's basically a sign with the sheriff's badge and says Neighborhood Watch, right? And that's... If you see that sign, that is where have you been, correct?
That's correct. So minus a few signs before I took this position, almost all the signs you'll see now, I have been involved with somehow, whether it's they've contacted us because they would like the signs, or we've developed a partnership with them and we're working with their group to either keep their neighborhood crime-free or help them solve a problem that they have. So they come to us two different ways. One, they could be reactive, where they've had a problem and they want to partner with the sheriff's office to solve it, or they want to be proactive. They have a great neighborhood and they want to keep it that way. They want to keep it crime-free, and they want to partner with us. So any information that they get, they can share with us, and any information that we get, we can share back with them. That's to me, the beautiful thing about the Neighborhood Watch program is the partnership. So we have information flowing both ways, not just one way. We get information from the citizens, and the citizens get information from us. And
the citizens are just good citizens that work with their neighbors. Because, today a lot of people, I don't want to talk to my neighbor. I don't want to know who he is or she is. Or they've got a loud barking dog at night, and I don't want to even talk, deal with them or something like that. But these are groups who are like, okay, crime's not going to happen here. We're going to share information so we can help law enforcement.
Correct. We promote that they share information amongst themselves and then also share the information with us. So we tell them to not necessarily be a nosy neighbor, but to get to know your neighbor, know when they're coming and going, knowing what vehicles sit, and not to the extent where what time they eat dinner and whatnot.
Bob and Janice are eating steak tonight.
That's
Wish
right.
I was over at Bob and Janice's house.
We just want people to be looking out for each other, kind of back to that, take care of your neighbor. And we realize that not all neighbors get along, but you can, for the neighborhood's sake, always be on the lookout to make sure that if you see anything suspicious in the neighborhood, whether it be someone that just doesn't look right. And that can mean several different things to several different people. When we do the Neighborhood Watch program startup meetings, I tell them, in your neighborhood, you're probably going to know what looks more suspicious than I will. You know who lives there, who comes and goes, what vehicles are there, generally speaking.
I haven't seen that car before.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. We get a lot.
Why is that car turning around in that guy's driveway?
That's right. And so, we suggest that they either know their neighbors well enough that they can reach out to them and ask them if they see a vehicle in their driveway that shouldn't be there, or if they see something that they just don't feel comfortable with, call us. Let us check it out. Because we have the means to contact people and find out if someone should be there, whether it's to approach the vehicle or the person themselves that they don't feel comfortable with, or contact a homeowner and find out.
Bingo. And so with all that said, people who may be listening say, hey, we used to be a part of a neighborhood watch, or we should like to start a neighborhood watch. How easy is it?
It's very easy. Kudos to our PIO, Trent Ferris, has helped us with our website.
Who's that guy?
That's right. It's a form on our website. It's under the services tab under YorkCountySheriff.com. If you go to the service tabs, it'll drop down. It says Neighborhood Watch Startup Meeting, and that is a form to fill out, and that form comes straight to me. As soon as we get that form, we make contact with the person that requested it, and we try to find out what they need. If they are interested in Neighborhood Watch, because we get some people that send that because they don't know where else to send concerns. But we always reach back out to them and ask them, what are you interested in? sometimes we just push them to the district commander. That's maybe who they just want to talk to. They just don't know who to reach out to. But a lot of times we'll try to talk to them and see if they are interested in starting a neighborhood watch group, set up a meeting. That way we can invite all of those that are interested in that area and explain it to them.
So it's kind of like, somebody may have, I want more patrols in my neighborhood. Why can't you guys see more cars in my neighborhood? And you could probably help out with that with a neighborhood watch. You don't necessarily need a deputy riding around the neighborhood 24 hours a day, because literally it's impossible with the manpower and everything. We have other neighborhoods to go to, but starting a neighborhood watch can solve a lot of that, right?
Yeah, starting a neighborhood watch actually helps give us extra eyes and ears in that neighborhood. So we have basically more observers, because we just can't be in every neighborhood all the time.
Right.
It's just physically impossible. Our district lieutenants, our commanders, push their guys to get into the subdivisions if they're not going from call to call to call, be seen. And that's very helpful. But there are going to be times where we just can't, because the call volume's so high.
Right.
So we depend on citizens to give us that information, call that information, and we encourage people to call it in. We get this from time after time after time. I'll go to meetings and people say, well, I don't want to bother them.
I don't want to bother 911.
That's
right.
right.
It's true. Everybody thinks it has to be a legit emergency, house burning down, somebody breaking into a window right now.
That's right.
You can call them anytime for anything suspicious.
That's right. And we would rather, if you see something suspicious going on at the time, call 911.
Yeah.
Okay? Because we don't want you to have to remember a long 7 to 10 digit number, depending on where you're from, where you're used to calling. We want you to, if it's ongoing, if it's something you're seeing right now, we want you to call 911. If it's something that you got home from work and you thought about it this morning, then just call the regular landline to make a report, talk to someone to see what maybe we need to do, what the next step is. But if it's ongoing, the likelihood of us being right there around the corner is slim to none, okay? Because this is such a big county, and call volume wise and population wise, we're not going to be right around the corner. So we need to get on the way. So they call 911, let us know that something suspicious is happening right now, and get us on the way. Even if the person or the vehicle leaves, we can get a deputy there to talk with whoever saw it, get some information, and we may take that information down for further reference.
Right.
Because we've done that in the past, where we've gotten information based on citizen calls of suspicious vehicles or suspicious persons, and that has led to break-ins that came later or before.
Right. And to add to that, you may want folks to be vigilant and be good observers, car descriptions, how many people are in it, etc.
Right, and that's what we cover in the Neighborhood Watch startup meetings. We kind of describe that and what makes them a good observer, because we need important information. And during this meeting, we'll come out and talk to you and tell you the most important things that you can tell us as police officers. So it's a great program. It gives us the advantage of meeting more people and introducing our district commanders, those people who are over their areas, and give them someone to reach out to at the sheriff's office.
Because this time of year, starting now, mostly between now and the end of the year through the, we did a video, 'Tis the Season to Be Stealing. It is the holiday season where people are just, crime starts going up because people are getting packages delivered to their houses. They're leaving stuff in their cars, and criminals know that. Right. And they target neighborhoods and houses and so on and so forth. And that's something that you can talk to the people who start these neighborhood watches, correct? Hey, be vigilant.
That's right. We share a lot of information when we come out. We don't just talk about the Neighborhood Watch program. We also give them crime preventative tips while we're there, which would be, don't advertise your stuff. Take it inside. Don't leave it in your vehicles. Don't leave your vehicles unlocked.
Oh, thank God. Say it again. Say it again, Kim.
I know. I understand. We hear it all the time, and we try to spread that information when we go to these meetings as well.
Because people think, let's just touch on it for a second there. I put something out on our Facebook page today about car break-ins. There were 7 in a neighborhood off of Highway 21, South Anderson Road in Rock Hill. And they were all unlocked. 7 cars broken into, all unlocked. And what was one of the comments on the Facebook page? Well, we don't lock it because we don't want to pay for a broken window or somebody cutting the Jeep window open or something like that. Right. Usually a crook is not going to take the chance of breaking a window, making a bunch of noise, cutting themselves, and so on and so forth. They go for easy targets, correct?
Correct. We do have the occasional where they're smashing the windows or ripping things to get in. Okay, and I just don't want that to go overlooked. But the likelihood of them getting in your vehicle if it's unlocked is a whole lot higher. Now, we Matter of fact, former employees here said, I'm not going to lock it. Okay, that's fine. And I understand that. But here's the thing. Take your items out of the vehicle.
Yeah.
If they don't see anything in it, generally speaking, they're not getting into it.
Right.
Now, I would say that, and then, tomorrow we'll have 11 cars that, that somebody opened the door just to look in them, correct?
Is that wood? Is my desk wood?
Yeah. So understand that the more you advertise, the more you entice someone to get into your vehicle. Now, are we saying it's your fault? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But you can help minimize your chance of becoming a victim
Bingo.
of an auto break-in if you'll help us do those things. Take your items out of your vehicle, out of sight, out of mind, and lock it. We would highly recommend you lock it, but we understand everybody's got to make that choice.
Yeah.
But take the items out.
That's easy. Take it out. Don't leave it there. Don't leave wallets. Don't leave bags. Don't leave this and that, especially packages during the Christmas and the Thanksgiving and shopping season. So, and then on top of that, don't leave your, if you're having a package delivered to your house.
Yeah. Where do you put it? Where do you have it delivered? So, we suggest that if you can keep it delivered to an area that's not in public view, that's the best place to do it, because a lot of people say, well, I can't have it delivered to my work, because we did suggest that, have it delivered to somewhere where you're going to be, but work doesn't want those interruptions either. So if you can have it delivered to a back porch or somewhere that someone's not being able to see it in public view, then you decrease your likelihood of becoming a victim. We can't tell you that if you have it delivered to the back porch that they won't drive in your driveway and be looking.
Yeah.
But you can do things to minimize your chance of becoming a victim.
Because the people will follow a FedEx truck or a UPS truck or an Amazon truck, but Amazon has new box delivery places and QTs and such. I've seen in places that's an option.
That's right.
So there's different options to prevent being.
There are, and this world's a matter of convenience, and we understand that. But understand that when things are made really convenient for you, sometimes you will pay the price of it disappearing if you put it in a place where they can see.
So please, just be vigilant, be smart. We've talked a bunch about that. We've talked a bunch about the Neighborhood Watch program, but we also have other programs, the Houses of Worship Safety Program. Talk about some of the other programs we have.
Okay, so the next biggest program is our Site Security Assessment Program. So a couple years back, Sheriff Bruce Bryant pushed to get a program in place that helped houses of worship, so church, synagogue, mosque. We've been to just about everywhere to look at their establishment and see what their vulnerabilities are, because, like it or not, the world of crime has come into those sacred places, and so we're trying to help those that govern those places see what they can do to help themselves. To make their establishments a little bit more secure for those who are attending. So we believe that it's their duty, as well as ours, to keep those who come to their worship services safe. And how do you do that? And if you don't look at things seriously. So we will come out. There is a request for that as well.
Online.
Yep, request for everything.
On YourCountySheriff.com.
Yeah, under the services tab for Houses of Worship Safety Assessment. If you'll submit that, it comes to me, and we'll take time to meet with your group. COVID has really kind of limited us in what we have been able to do, but we're looking forward to all that opening back up and visiting with everybody on a regular basis in normal terms, if we do get back to normal. And we'll walk them through their establishment and look at lots and lots of things. I mean, I don't have enough time here because it can take an hour sometimes or longer, depending on how big their facility is, to show them things that they could either change easily without money, or they may have to look at their budgets and say, hey, we need new locks. We've got, or windows that are, the locks don't work any longer. Sometimes they just overlook even. We get there and sometimes they don't even know. They don't even know that window can open. They thought it was locked.
Oh, it's always been locked.
That's right.
I've never seen anybody open that window.
Yeah, so, it's just a matter of looking at things from a police officer's perspective that we see every day, where things are broken into and how they're broken into, and sharing that information. So that's basically another crime prevention program, because we're trying to educate the public. The more we can educate the public on how to keep themselves safe, the better off they are. And I mean, honestly, it's better for us as well.
And I know a lot of people especially when something across the country happens where a church is attacked, we get a spike in that, and mostly the people are asking, how can we, defend ourselves? What should we do? It's not necessarily always about the active shooter. It's about how to prevent the active shooter from getting there in the first place, that kind of stuff. So,
correct. Because in the media, we are much more aware of any event that happens nationwide. So when you look at the statistics, do we have more active shooters? Yes. However, not in such big numbers that people think, because people hear what the media is making big news.
Right.
And albeit it is big news anytime that we have an active shooter event. But the likelihood of that happening is still very small.
That's why I always tell my church, say, hey, guys, we have to worry more about the severe weather, earthquakes, tornadoes, versus, a guy randomly coming in here, which could happen. Yeah. But, the small, work your way up kind of.
That's right. So we do the site security assessment to give people some tools that they can use to spot suspicious people ahead of time and keep that type of event from happening on site as well. So we do talk to them about that, but we talk to them about the big picture of all crime prevention. Now, but that being said, we do also have an active shooter program.
Yeah.
So we've presented it's called Civilian Response to Active Shooter Events program to literally hundreds of people now.
Yeah.
So this nation's been through some active shooter events. And again, like you said, in terms of spikes, when that happens, we get a spike in the requests for those. And it's a great program. It's a fairly short program. We come out and we teach them 3 very important points.
Not run, hide, fight, but avoid, deny, defend.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, a little brain fart there. But yes, because I wanted to say run, hide, fight. I mean, that.
Well, it's both.
Yeah, the run, hide, fight came up after 911 after Columbine. We heard a lot of run, hide, fight, run, hide, fight, run, hide, fight. So the verbiage has just changed a little bit to avoid, deny, defend. And we come out and we teach those 3 principles in how someone can, again, decrease their chances of becoming a victim in an event such as that. So, and then we could go on and on.
Yeah, I mean sure.
We have several programs. We talk to people about online shopping safety. We talk to parents about we have a safety guide for parents. We talk to them about their teens. We have Scam Smarts. I mean, it just goes on and on. So if it's criminally related, then we either have a program for it, or we will come up with one. I will say, since I've taken this position, we've added several programs, and we come out and speak to lots of people on what they want to know. It might be senior safety. We've done that. It may be women's safety. We have a program for that. So if you're in need of an event that is crime preventative related, that's how I get involved.
Right.
Okay. So you can reach me through either the programs the request forms that we already have, Neighborhood Watch, Houses of Worship.
It's all online. They can find it,
It is. It's online. But they can also, if they don't know where it falls into their request, they can go to our community events request form.
Oh, thank you. I was going to mention that next. Yeah, do it again.
It's a big part. So we have a community events request form. It is for anything that you're wanting the sheriff's office to be involved in. Now, I can't guarantee you that we'll come to any and everything that comes through, but that form is for you to fill it out and tell us what you need. There's some places on there that say, what services are you asking for? What do you need from the sheriff's office that we have? What resources are you wanting? And you can describe that, and it's going to come to me again.
All roads lead back to
That's
Kim.
right. You're either going to get an email or a phone call from me, and we're going to find out what you need and if we can provide it for you and how we can provide it for you.
And those work for crime prevention talks and such, even to community events like festivals and such, if you want a table there, correct? Just to talk to the people.
Correct. So we go out to several schools. We go to several businesses. We got to churches. So all of those requests can be handled through that form. I look through it and read it. I've been doing it for 6 years or so since we brought that form online. And I can usually tell by reading it what they're going to need. And either I can come out and present the information, or I will find it has come from time to time that we have experts here on the subject matter, child safety.
Yep.
We'll reach out to the experts. If I don't feel comfortable with giving you a very in-depth view of that crime prevention program, then I'm going to find someone who's going to do it.
Because somebody here knows something about something.
That's right.
Whatever you need. We have an expert at almost everything.
That's correct.
Whew. My goodness. We've already gone close to the 30-minute mark. But before we leave today, Kim, we always ask everybody who comes in here, except for a couple of occasions where we talked about some past cases and whatnot. But you being in law enforcement for so many years now, not that you're an old person. You're still in your 40s, so you're all good. So many years. Just for somebody who might be listening, thinking about, I want to get into law enforcement. I think that's, I remember going to a talk when I was in high school and have a officer come and talk to the group about prom safety and stuff, and it interested me. Say somebody's either one applying to be a police officer today, or has in the process of applying to being a police officer today. What advice, if you could go back in time and talk to young Kim Morehouse about being a police officer, what piece of advice would you give them?
I think first and foremost, I would impress upon anyone that's interested in this career that communication is the key to becoming a successful police officer. And the earlier you learn how to communicate with anyone, and I mean anyone, I mean from different backgrounds, from different races, you name it, the better off you're going to be. So you have to learn to engage with people. If you can't bring that component to law enforcement, it's hard to understand people. And that's a huge part of being a police officer, is understanding the person that you're dealing with, whether it is ultimately making arrests for a criminal act, or if it's just understanding how you can help them.
Yeah.
You hear so many times that people say, when we ask them why they want to get in law enforcement, I just want to help people.
Yeah.
Well, we do help people.
Yeah.
And we help people a lot. But you have to understand that that's not all we do. We enforce the laws as well. So I've heard that kind of recently. I help do background investigations now for the sheriff's office. And I hear some people say, I just want to help people. We got to understand, on a day-to-day basis, I may not be helping a person every shift.
Right.
I may be patrolling. In essence, that is helping people. But you got to understand that it's a multifaceted career. It's not just finding the person on the side of the street that needs help, whether it's with their vehicle or they're lost, something like that. It's also being, as we'll use Trent Ferris's word, vigilant. Vigilant.
I love the word.
To try to be crime preventative. Because if you read under our policies, every deputy is charged with crime prevention. Every deputy. It doesn't necessarily just mean making arrests. It's being observant. So communication and observation skills. And then outside of that, I would say a mental toughness.
Yeah.
And Trent can talk about that. Since he's come into this law enforcement field. It will try you. And if you are not mentally prepared for the good and the bad, then it's a very tough career.
It is. I mean, you could talk about that all day, about how you have to. I've worked in two careers in my life that you meet people on the worst day of their lives.
That's right.
Whether you were knocking on a door to interview them as a former reporter, or knocking on a door telling somebody, sorry, you're going to jail today, or sorry, you just lost a loved one, that kind of thing.
That's right.
So it is. Got to have that mental toughness, especially when you get on those Facebook commandos over here, when they get mad at you on Facebook and start, 10 feet tall and bulletproof behind the Facebook page.
That's right. And we've been through it together. Trent and I have seen a lot of things, a lot of people, slinging out things that they're just, I'm sure that maybe they're not thinking through that process. But as law enforcement officers, we're out here doing the best we can, generally 100% of the time. And then to be told that, the different things that we've heard over the year through Facebook, you've got to walk away from it at the end of the day and know that, and that's another part I actually speak about, is confidence. You have to be confident in yourself.
Yeah.
We can teach you how to make a traffic stop, how to make an arrest, how to shoot a gun, how to drive a car. We can teach that. But we can't teach the confidence. So you've got to walk into this career being confident that whatever is thrown at you, you can handle.
Bingo. Wow. See? Awesome, Kim. I appreciate your time. And like I said, if anybody wants to know anything more about the Neighborhood Watch program, they can go to our website, YorkCountySheriff.com, click on that Services tab, and you have all the information there that you need to figure out what you need. If you want to start a Neighborhood Watch program, if you want a community event, if you just want somebody to come talk to you, or your group, or your church group, your school group, or whatever group, we can handle that for you. So, well, thank you, Kim. Thank you for giving us a look behind the badge at Kim Morehouse and the Neighborhood Watch program, crime prevention, because October is Crime Prevention Awareness Month. So make sure, folks, you go out there and be vigilant. Make sure you keep your head on a swivel. If you see something wrong in your neighborhood, don't hesitate to call 911. Nobody's going to yell at you for calling 911. Everybody gets a little scared, but to just, call. It's worse if you don't call. That's because right. we miss somebody. We may miss something. So we don't want to do that. All right. Well, lastly, folks, go out there and tell your friends about this podcast. Go tell everybody about our crime prevention program. And the best way you can do that is, one, word of mouth. Tell your friends. And then also you can go to our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube page where you can see this on a video if you don't have a podcasting service. And just tell them we're on the Anchor podcasting service, or we're on Apple Podcasts, or Google Podcasts, Breaker, Spotify, a couple of the other ones, the big ones that you can see on the Anchor podcasting service. It's anchor.com. It's easy. And lastly, go sign up for those Notify Me alerts straight to your phone and email at YorkCountySheriff.com. Did we say YorkCountySheriff.com enough today in the podcast? YorkCountySheriff.com. That's great advertisement. So, all right, folks, thanks for listening, and thank you for listening to YCSO Behind the Badge.